Next up in Chapter 4 of Mastering Meditation, we'll primarily be focusing on how long your individual meditation session should be. Before getting to that, though, I'll jump around to a few different parts of this chapter and possibly wrap up the rest of this chapter in this one video. We'll just have to kind of wait and see. So first up, he talks about how if you can find one of the 4 proofs, those being 1, hands hot and heavy, 2, lips tingle, 3, ecstatic pressure on the dorsal-vagal, and then 4 being your skin, or essentially your whole body can eventually begin to kind of tingle or buzz. I used to refer to this as my body buzz meditation. And so he talks about how if you can find one of these 4 proofs in your meditation, then strive to find all 4 in future sessions. But interestingly enough, like, the easiest one for me to locate is the 4th proof, where your skin begins to tingle or the whole body buzz thing starts to go off. And he does kind of allude to that if you can get to that stage, then that kind of is like all 4 proofs wrapped up in one. So for me, I would just prioritize going for that one. Seemed like the easiest one for me to go ahead and find. Oh, I'm not sure if he says it in this chapter, but somewhere later on in the book, he points out how if you want to try and kind of like force this whole skin tingling thing to activate and start to happen, he has a technique in here where you can take a short inhale in and then do as long of an exhale as you can comfortably, and then you basically just rep that out and keep that up for about 5 minutes or so, and then that should start to kind of force this skin tingling feeling to take over. Next up, he talks about another sort of proof that he found, and he does say how this is a pretty subtle thing to notice, so it took him a long time to find it. But he says how what he began to notice is there was changes in how he was breathing through his nostrils, and it was essentially just another proof that his meditation was going correctly. Now, I did kind of try to play around with this myself and try to find it. I couldn't totally find it, or I wasn't sure if I could actually tell what he was getting at, so I won't get too deep into it. He does link to a video he has on YouTube talking about that, so I'll put that in the descriptions of this. Here he talks about how this approach is really good at quieting your left brain or like having you overthink or overanalyze your meditation session. So, no need to wrestle or struggle with your own thoughts. This will only stir up the sympathetic system and more thoughts. Instead, seek the safe and ancient haven of the dorsal-vagal complex. All you need to do is keep controlling your breath, which will automatically put your mind on the breath. No need to think about it, just control your breath. All right, now we'll get into the whole how long your individual meditation session should be. So many yogis obsess over how long they should meditate. What is needed most in the beginning and middle are a few key yogic skills. Skill number 1 is to get your body into HRV resonance. Skill number 2 is to sit very still and invite the freeze response. Then pay attention to the effect that resonance is causing in your body, which are the 4 proofs. Finally, let go and enjoy the results of your work, which is skill number 4. You can accomplish all of this in 5 or 10 minutes, which is an excellent place to begin. From a later part, but talking about the same thing. If instead you hyper-focus on the time you sit, then you might stretch yourself into a practice which is no longer serving you. If your good feelings have ended, resonance has ended, and if you insist on sitting through your pain, then what system do you think you are awakening? That's right, you are now straining in the sympathetic system, and this can no longer rightfully be called meditation. Some yogis think that they can torture themselves into truth. They force themselves to sit for hours in meditation, hoping that this will give them the realization they crave. However, what they're actually doing is creating a split in the consciousness. One part wants the elusive realization, and the other part is screaming with discomfort. The mind then is no longer aligned and is divided against itself. This will not work to create the deep meditation state you want. You must be aligned with the parasympathetic, not fighting against it. These skills are best learned in small doses. So really no need to, try to sit for super duper long. Like consistent 5 or 10 minute sessions every single day, I think is, and I say this all the time when I talk about meditating, you'll be way better off doing that than trying to do like one 90-minute session every Sunday or something like that. Okay, we'll add in one more thing. And here he's talking about how you can see that your meditation practice is really starting to, become a habit and work for you outside of actually just sitting there to meditate. and essentially says that if you notice throughout the day when you're not really thinking about it, that your breath rate begins to really slow down and you hit this HRV resonance thing without specifically focusing on it, then that's a good sign that your meditation practice is really starting to affect and serve your life outside of actually sitting down to meditate. So essentially, try to see if randomly throughout the day when you're just chilling, if your breath rate drops down to 7 breaths per minute or less. Yep. And I think we'll leave it there. With that said, is that all of chapter 4? No, yeah, for the most part. So with that said, that's it. Until the next video, keep your meditation practice legit. Never mind, you know what? I think I will throw in one more thing in here to fully wrap up chapter 4. So he closes off chapter 4 talking about diet. He does also point out how he's not a dietitian. It's just some kind of recommendations and things that he has. So he has 6 of them here. I'm going to focus on one of them. So 1 is lower sugar and carbohydrate intake. 2 is lower gluten intake. 3 is lower meat intake. 4 is lower caffeine intake. 5 is increased good oils like avocado and runny eggs. And then 6 is intermittent fasting. And so here for intermittent fasting just points out how when you're in more of a fasted state, it really can help out your meditation practice, which is something I just stumbled into again, exploring this space on my own. So he points out how if you haven't ever really tried this, you can try, say, not eating for 3 hours before your meditation, then you can push that out to 12 or even 16 hours. And it really does make a big difference. So like I'm currently doing round 2 of the 75 hard challenge with my coworker. We're doing like a 30-day version of it with some other stuff added on top. But what I do for this, for my diet portion of that challenge, is I do intermittent fasting. So right now I'm going 16 hours a day without eating. And when I do meditate while fasted, it's just everything runs better. I feel better even outside of my meditation. Like it's just nice to have a kind of empty stomach. Kind of hard to explain, but if you haven't tried it, try fasting, the whole 3-hour thing or 6 hours thing. I guess that could be okay. But I would say like go 12 hours or more, then try to meditate and just see how your session feels. And I think you'll find it's pretty damn nice. Okay, so that wraps it up. We're done with chapter 4. Next up, we'll be moving on to chapter 5.